Hello, goblins. It's Chris, Eldritch Pipes. It's an episode of this week's Pipes. Yes, I'm back this week. I didn't do a video last week. I wasn't feeling that well. I had a bout of anxiety, and that really, it sucks the joy out of everything. I don't know how many of you are familiar with having an anxiety attack. I have them every sort of couple of years or so, it seems. The last time I had one, it was when we were moving house, and that seemed to be obvious. There was a lot of stress with moving house. This time, no obvious cause. But I ploughed on, because fortunately I love my job and have a great family, so I just took things easy and just tried to maintain a steady life, and things passed, and I'm back to normal, which is always good. If any of you guys out there also suffer anxiety attacks, you have my sympathies. I know how it feels. It's pretty dreadful, but things are never as bad as they seem when you're in them. Never. You just have to get past these moments. I'm smoking some Rich Dark Flake. Jermaine's RDF. I nearly went for some Stonehaven today, but I went to the jar and it's really dried out, so I've got to rehydrate it. Anyway, before we get to the pipes, I wanted to talk about a program on Netflix I've been watching. It's called Body on the Beach, and I don't know if it's available overseas. It's on Netflix in the UK. Hopefully maybe you've got it in the States and in other countries. If not, that's a shame, because it's a really good... Well, the story that it's based on is fascinating. Let's put it like that. In 2005, a body was found of a woman on a beach in Scotland. And, I mean, that's tragic enough. But what was more curious was the police investigation into the death. Ordinarily, you'd think this would just be just a tragic event of some kind, but the way the police have responded to it, it really makes a mystery out of the whole thing. So, the body was discovered, I think it was 3rd of December, 3rd of December 2005. And the day after, the police had described the event as a suicide. That's very unusual. To come to such a conclusion so fast. I mean, what evidence were they basing this on, right? So, to come to such a conclusion so fast in itself is very odd. To have ruled out murder, to have ruled out accident, and just gone straight to suicide. What was going on? Even stranger than that, the coroner's report listed death by drowning, fine, and wrote no evidence of external injury or trauma. And that's only noticeable because the body, Annie Boyesen, of Swedish or Danish nationality, I can't quite recall, But her body obviously was going to be sent from Scotland back to her homeland. And it worked by the police sent it to, I think it was a London mortician, to ship to a Swedish mortician, and then finally to the family. And both the London mortician and the Swedish mortician noticed heavy bruising. The family took photographs. So, the interesting thing about bruising is that it doesn't happen post-death. Bruising happens when you're alive because, well, at least your heart is still pumping, because when bruising is caused by when your blood vessels are broken, the heart is still pumping blood into the tissue, and that's what causes bruising. So it has to occur while you're alive. So the family requested the photographs from the autopsy, and the police refused to hand them over, giving various reasons: that it's not in the public interest, that it would cause the family too much distress. And so, of course, refusal is as good as admitting. Because obviously, if the autopsy photos backed up the police's story, they would release them, wouldn't they? Here is more evidence that backs up our story. Our investigation claims. But they don't, and it's obvious why they're not. And so that's just very, very odd. But she didn't seem to be involved in that much. Like her, they did a bit of a dive into her life, and it's not like she was involved with a lot of nefarious characters or anything. And at the time that the event happened, she was kind of like on the move. She was like going to the airport and then travelling somewhere else. She was kind of on the go, so just very odd. Just a very intriguing story, and the police's response to it even more bizarre. So look into it, I would. It's a fascinating story. Alright. Pipes. So, I'm going to put this down. I think it's nearly out. Couple of pipes. Last time I did a video, I said I was looking forward to the next video because I would have a couple of cool pipes to show. I mean, all the pipes are cool, right? But these are slightly less usual ones. And so it's always nice to see those. This you may have seen before is a Trumpet de la Mort. De la Mort. And is a pipe that I just love to make. The first couple of renditions that I did of this, I've done a few tweaks on this shape. What you would call the stem of the mushroom into the shank and pipe stem have pretty much remained as they are here. It's just the mushroom cap that I've tweaked with over the years. The very first one that I did was just a smooth cap. And that was nice for sort of like pipe reasons. You could like see the grain. That was nice. I also did one in the past that had a plateau top. So the sides were smooth, and then it was like a plateau rim, all this part here. And then Paul Lucas, Paw Pipes, did a mushroom pipe. And he went for this very natural look, like imitating nature look. This kind of like fluted, like with folds coming over each other. It looked just, he was going for the it's a mushroom look. And I thought that was the ultimate way to go. So I now do my trumpets with a sort of this kind of like natural mushroom cap rim, and I have a lot of fun with it as well. It takes more time. It's in that sense, it's a more artistic endeavour, because I would like do this bit, and then in the past when it was smooth, it was like it was just a process. But now each of these rims is like these caps are like totally unique. And then it gets a sandblast, which is like the obvious thing to do, because then it reveals the grain, but it gives this just lovely natural texture. It could be a mushroom cap, as far as I'm concerned. And then it's a part rusticated stem. This is the olive Cumberland. So there you go. Trumpet de la Mort. I don't think I've got another one of those this year. In fact, this might be the year's only trumpet. It's not always possible to find a piece of briar that will do that shape. It has to be quite deep. The chamber is deep. It's a deep chamber on those boys. It's not a thick chamber, and it tapers. It's a tapering chamber, but it does have to be a deep piece of briar. All right. Another pipe. I don't make very often in this version. In fact, I've never made this particular one. I'll explain why in a second. It's a Viking horn, obviously, but it is a reanimated Viking horn. It's a resin fusion pipe. The last couple of times that I've made this version, I've done a sandblast finish, but I knew this was going to be a nice one, and I was talking to the guy who'd commissioned it, and I said, I can finish this one smooth, and I wanted to do just a black and natural contrast. I thought it would go really nice with the violet resin. You can see that there. Yeah, you can see that there. And fortunately, he was in accord. He went, yes, go for it. So that's what we have done. I'm really pleased with it. It's not often you get to finish a pipe smooth. even rare to finish a resin fusion pipe smooth. So it's a good day when that happens. If you haven't seen one of these before, it's not, the break is around out here. So the stummel, the pipe, is briar, resin, briar, and then the stem is briar, resin. Like that. Cool, eh? There you go. I actually do have another one of these this year, later in the year, October time. Which is grand, because they always just like, I get incredibly focused when I'm making those. It's quite involved, going from carving the briar to, for the resin pour, and then the pipe creation itself. There's a lot that goes into those things. A lot of points that it could fail. That's kind of like, you cross your fingers and you cross your toes, and you just trust the process. All right. Been such strange weather today. Intermittent showers, and then when it hasn't been showering, quite hot. Yeah. All right. Okay. As far as I know, I'll be back next week. That's the plan anyway. So until then, I'll take it easy, and you take it easy too. Your loyal pipe maker.